And we are live. Welcome to Office Hours with Arrow, a LinkedIn Live event hosted by Arrow leaders who care about what senior living looks like. I'm your host and producer, Rachel Sheehan, and today's topic is all about innovations in housekeeping, which I did wear my spring cleaning shirt just for you guys today. So I did do that. So I just want to, I know Boyd's been on here before, but if you don't mind introducing yourself first, and then we'll head over to Robert.
Yeah, sure. Mike Boyd, and I head up our asset management team here.
I'm Robert Brushko, and I'm the Plan Ops Director for the Wellington and Liberty, Missouri.
Awesome. And then we have two outside guests today. The robot guy, how about you start us off?
Good morning. I'm Nate Gerard. I'm with Gerard Solutions, and I'm the owner.
And Dan?
Hey, hello everyone. Dan Lawson here, President of Business Development for Viking Pure Solutions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm excited to talk about this topic, and I think, Boyd, just tell us exactly what we're going to touch on today.
Yeah, so we've got, in the last year and a half or so, we've made some pretty big strides in terms of innovation within our housekeeping team. Within our housekeeping teams, we've added, so we started with actually Dan, we added in Viking Pure Solutions, which has been really cool. So one of the biggest struggles that we were having for the longest time is having enough chemicals ordered, having part levels set up. And so with Dan and his team, we were able to implement this really cool solution that has a generator, and it takes salt and electrolyzes it. And Dan will explain it much more eloquently than I ever could, but it turns it into a couple of different cleaners. One is a disinfectant that's can be used for everything from like C. diff all the way to COVID and influenza and all the cool stuff. And then the other one's a really strong and powerful, like really great degreaser that we use quite a bit of. And so we started with him. The cool part from the nerd side of me is that we ended up taking what's typically a variable like expense, and we've been able to almost like create a fixed expense out of it. And Dan's team was so great that we actually, across our whole portfolio, it's actually costed out on a per unit basis. So if we have a commute, so now like even when we're budgeting, we're able to like size it off of how many units the community would have, as opposed to just finger in the air determining the way the wind blows and trying to base it off of trend. So it's been a really great, like it speeds up the process on that side. And then it's also been just an absolute game changer, as Robert, I'm sure we'll talk about here in a little bit. And then after that, we've actually started work. We caught up with Nate. And so what we've done is we've added in this automated floor cleaning robot. It has the ability to do wet floor, like mopping, but then also like one day it can mop and the next day it can vacuum. And so it's been really cool. It's got all sorts of fun programmable features. Robert has it running around his community saying happy birthday and things like that, depending on the day. And and then on top of that, it also, we've set up something this year that we're the first ones in the United States, right, Nate, that it calls the elevator on its own. So it's programmed, it has a schedule, it calls an elevator, it can run up and down the elevators. And so it's been really cool from an engagement standpoint and a satisfaction standpoint. We've been able to shorten up the need to do like common area floors, but then we've also been able to I think, Robert, what's the name of yours?
Our residents named them Dirty Harry.
And so every robot we put in ends up having like a naming campaign. My favorite name at the Boulevard at St. Charles is Bill Jr. So they took the Plan Ops guy and they named the robot, his name Junior. It's awesome. So we've been partnering with them. I think Dan's in almost every one of our communities. We have the final 8 that are being rolled out with our most recent acquisitions. And then Nate is in, I think you're in 11 or 12 of ours, and with the plan to try to get into another 8 or 9 going into next year. And then we'll be rolling the elevator integration out we're putting it into our CapEx budgets to roll out into all the communities that currently have them next year as well. So that's where we're at. That's a partnership. And then then Robert's going to talk a little bit, I think, about some of the cool stuff he's looking at from a laundry process perspective and equipment. It's going to be exciting. It's so much fun.
I love it. I just learned so much, and I saw a comment come through. This feels like the best science class ever. So I love it. I think that's so fun. We're all going to learn so much. So first starting, I'd love to dive into Viking Pure a little bit more. Dan, do you want to just talk about like what is it exactly, your footprint, all of that good stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks everybody for having us. We're obviously honored to share this space with you. In addition to just having the relationship with Arrow, it's been a lot of fun getting to know Mike and Rachel here recently, and in all of your communities recently as well. We're very passionate about serving seniors. We see that resembled in every single one of your communities. All of your caregivers really do have this just unconditional commitment to your residents as well as to the environment that that they serve within. Robert is an unbelievable example of that, and I'm excited for him to talk about some of his experiences. But just as a background, my company is called Viking Pure. We've been in business since roughly 2015, and we are very passionate about serving the senior space, but we serve a handful of other industries too, like healthcare, education, and a couple of other subsets. But since our inception, our mission has been an easy one to say, but not necessarily an easy one to accomplish, and that's to remove toxic chemicals from the environment. And we do that through a proprietary technology that we manufacture here in the USA, down in the state of Florida. That's called an electrolyzed water generator. To Boyd's comment a few minutes ago, our technology has a patent protected process of basically mixing water, salt, sodium chloride, and electricity together to create two very powerful solutions that have kind of their own independent mechanism of action. One of the chemicals is a multi-purpose cleaning and degreasing solution that really is ideally used in all of your different types of environmental cleaning needs, like floors, glass, carpets. Really any surface is compatible with the solution. And then the second product that's created is an EPA registered hospital grade disinfectant called Viking Pure Disinfectant. That is capable of killing all of these different germs that we worry about every year about this time, as we're on the precipice of another flu and norovirus season. Both of these solutions, in addition to maintaining the highest levels of efficacy within our regulatory environment, are also completely non-toxic. And our goal when implementing these technologies into a community like Arrow is to remove all of the different variety of chemicals that we typically see. It's not uncommon for a community to be using 10, 12, 20, different chemicals to keep them the community clean. But that's really unnecessary from our perspective. And we like to integrate a technology that really simplifies the use of product, gives the community an opportunity to generate all of their needed chemicals on site within the community, and not rely on your traditional supply chain with ordering, storing, and manipulating chemical, and then most importantly using toxic chemicals. So we're passionate about it. We love to to spend time at the community level with our training and our education and our certifications. And we've been doing it, like I said, for almost 10 years, and now are serving the entire country as it pertains to the implementation of our stuff. So thanks for having us.
Oh, wow. I think that's amazing and incredible. Inspires me to get rid of some of my chemical cleaners I have at home.
Yeah, totally.
But I think that's great, keeping our
The
residents safe.
The amazing thing with all of it, Rachel, is that like what we've found is as we started using it, and Robert, maybe you jump in on this real quick, but like as we started using it, it's like it peels all the old garbage. Robert, you've experienced it.
Yeah. So like Dan said, a lot our communities have 10, 12 chemicals. We had 10 or 12 in our community that we were using every day. And we come in and the housekeepers now carry two bottles on their cart, one disinfectant and one cleaner. And it at first I was like, okay, let's see how this works. And the joke here is we call it the Harry Potter magic water because it does such a good cleaning job in that. And like Boyd was saying, the thing is it takes a little bit to get the film off from the chemicals we've been putting on before we started using the Viking Pure. But once you get the film off, it's just the community is always looking top notch. People always comment about how it looks. It works great on the carpets. We had spots on our carpets we couldn't get up, and sprayed this on there, and they come right up. And Dan will agree with me. One of the big projects for us was our kitchen floor. We couldn't get the grout clean in the kitchen because of all the grease. We sprayed that on there, scrubbed it, washed it off, and it was like a brand new floor. It was just unbelievable the job we did. And I think like the only thing we've had an issue with is people are asking, does it really clean? Because there's not a smell to it. There's no smell to it, but it does. They're like, it looks clean, but is it clean? And it's just we're looking at putting a little essential oil in it just to add a little bit of a smell, so they realize
It's good.
we're cleaning.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. We as a society, as you can imagine, right? Like we've been convinced that chemicals need to look, smell, feel, a certain way. And the chemical companies have done an amazing job of kind of correlating a smell, whether it be lemons or roses or whatever the fabuloso odor is. That actually means pine trees is a representative of something clean. But interestingly, when we think about it, right, a truly clean environment doesn't have a smell, right? It certainly isn't a flower or something like that. But no, I totally understand, and we hear that a lot. So the skepticism is real, right? You're not used to using products that can be, obviously used in such ways.
Well, I'll say this: like one of the things that we hear all the time is it something feels dirty, and so like as we started, I've done I've done a lot of community walks where when I hear it feels dirty, what we typically are locating in on are things like you see streaks in the windows. The floors aren't clean, and this is probably the worst one, if the floors are sticky. And the funny thing is, the majority of the times that the floors are sticky is because it's all this excess soap. Like, so the diluters from the chemical companies, this is nothing against them. It is what it is. The diluters of the chemical companies will get loosened up where things happen, and you're putting more soap on the floors. And then that soap is sticky. And what ends up happening is it actually holds dust and debris and random things on it. And that's where the nice thing with Dan's product is again, you lose that whole thing. I will say the other thing that one of the unintended consequences that we're doing is we have had to do, so instead of us having to go in and deal with the diluters, we do have to do testing. So it does require salt additive. So now there's we have to make sure that we're always adding in the salt, that we're like doing the testing strips, and we're ensuring that it's still coming out at the right rates. But other than that, it's actually, really, again, not a bad thing. It's just, I think our biggest thing, and we see it with both products, is there's got to be like a fundamental shift in our training and our like education process. And that's where things get it gets fun, but it's something different. And so anyways, sorry, I wanted to throw that
out. No, you nailed it, man. Yeah. It's a new toy. We've got to learn how to use it, right?
No, like you were saying too, Dan, the disinfectant side of it, in this type of year, we spray our common areas. We fog our common areas with the disinfectant, and we've been knock on wood, we haven't had the outbreaks we've had.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, man. That just is our mission personified right there. That means everything. I appreciate you telling me, and I'm knocking on wood, obviously, but also know that you're now equipped with the technology that can really lend a much more proactive approach to your infection prevention practices, and you're going to see tremendous outcomes as a result of those efforts. So keep it up, man. I wish we had more like you. Don't stop. Your residents are relying on you, and so are your fellow team members, right? So.
Yeah, and that's actually a comment I wanted to bring up, because Mara, who works in our HR department, she even said she noticed that our workers' comp issues have gone down related to cleaners or rashes from cleaners, things like that.
Wow.
In the housekeeping department. So
that's just a true I'm going to do a shout out. Hashtag, hey, Kayla Barlow. See that? See, Kayla. Anyways, I'm jumping. I'm excited to talk about the robots. That's been.
We can switch out.
I'm sorry, Dan. I'm sorry.
But Nate, do you want to share?
I'm excited to hear about them. Yeah, Johnny Five this thing. Let's go.
Put too much pressure on me, guys. I don't know. Well, first of all, I have to say, for everybody, I am Nate Gerard. I'm with Gerard Solutions. I always carry around my card, and I carry around my card because a couple things. If if they are recording this, I want you to be able to come back to this if you want to take a look at some of the things that we're doing. But on the backside, if you want to remember who we are, we always put a set of robots on there. And that's why I asked them to label me as the robot guy. And first of all, Daniel, I want to say it's absolutely amazing listening to that technology. I don't know how long you've been doing this, but since the advent of and since we've experienced this pandemic within the COVID, we've seen so many different things come to light, come to surface that just really weren't necessarily at the forefront, and now they are. And we're finding that, especially within what we're doing and some of our technologies, that we can use that synergy to make things even better and easier for clients like long-term care and Aero Senior Living. So let me back up just a little bit. We are a robot company out of Minnesota. We represent 8 manufacturers. We have over 20 different models of robots that we sell. But specifically today, I want to talk about our biggest selling, most popular unit called the Pudu CC1. And I'm sorry, I don't know why they call it the CC1. It's a goofy name. I'm thinking maybe carpet care. I don't know. But as Robert indicated, every location that picks one of these up definitely has a naming contest. It's a wonderful way to get the residents involved and the staff involved in accepting this new technology as it comes in and it rolls into their facility. So what is a CC1? A CC1 is a mixed-use, autonomous mobile robotic floor cleaning solution capable of vacuuming and mopping in a single unit. Okay, say that fast 3 times. Basically what it is, it's a unit that will allow you to, in an autonomous format, clean your floors, whether your floor is a hard floor surface or a carpet surface, in a single unit. It is designed to have 360-degree view. It is small. It's 22 by 26 by 27. So it's not huge. It's not a tripping hazard, so it's not small, but it is designed so that it can seamlessly work in the public areas within your facility. So your entryways, your hallways. This is not designed for resident rooms, but it's designed for virtually everything else. Holds about 15 liters of solution. Dan, that's where you come in. Does approximately 700 to 1,000 square meters an hour, or roughly 7,500 to 10,000 square feet an hour is its fullest capacity. So it can move, and it can provide a phenomenal benefit when it comes to helping to create some level of consistency within your employees, within housekeeping and EVS. Free them up and let them do the God-given things that you can do with your hands and your feet and your legs and your brain. My bot doesn't do any of that, but my bot does an excellent job with very repetitive circumstance, such as vacuuming and mopping. So we literally encompass the entire floor surface of all the buildings you ask us to map. So if you're asking us to map assisted living, memory care, resident living, we map all of that. So our touch points within your organization, EVS, facilities management, and even food and beverage. It is a unit that has the capability of operating up to 24 hours a day if you wanted to. We can kind of get into that and show you how that works. But the real benefit is our staff comes in, programs to your facility. When we leave, your staff knows how to use it. And this bot is able to, with a push of a button, work and do the function that your staff used to be doing, so that now you can free it up to do something else. What's next? What's coming? I mean, what does this robot do that has made it such a tremendous robot? Vacuum. And I know that sounds silly, but nobody likes to vacuum. I mean, nobody likes to vacuum. Mop. Nobody likes to do that type of function. So if we can push a button and walk away from it, have it be done by itself, all the better. And as Michael indicated, there are things that are coming down the road that Pudu has put into this bot to make it even more autonomous in its structure. One of those is external chargers. So we can have this robot back into a charger and charge itself up. So when it's in the middle of a run, if it gets too low, it'll stop what it's doing, go back to the charger, charge itself up, then go back and finish the job. More than that, if we have single level and we wanted to put it on a schedule, the bot can be scheduled to start at 3 o'clock in the morning. So nobody can be there. The bot will start on its own, do its job, and come back. If we do, as Michael is indicating, put in elevator integration or automatic door integration, now we can tell it go to the 3rd floor at 3 o'clock in the morning and do the job. And it can go call the elevator, get on the elevator, get off the elevator, do its job, come back on the elevator, come back and charge itself. The idea is the more autonomous we can make this, the more we can free up your staff. Maybe the bad
Shameless
side.
plug here, Nate. Shameless
Go ahead.
plug. First ones in the United States with the elevator integration on this guy, Arrow. Actually,
And I
Robert's
wanna-
building.
And I want to clarify it just a little bit, Michael. Is the first one with Poodoo, right? Because
Thank
I
you,
don't know,
thank you. Yes,
I don't know
yes.
all the other ones, but the first one with Poodoo.
That's
and
what I
yes,
was
they're
referring to.
they're super proud of it. We're super proud of it. We're extremely happy to be able to do this. And to my knowledge, from the last time we checked in, everything is still working very, very well. And we are still a push to go boom, boom, boom with all those that we currently have installed. We're very happy about that.
I do have something to add into this too. Like, if real quick, Nate, I'll take 30 seconds. But given the
fine.
staffing challenge, like this came up because we've been seeing staffing challenges for a long time now since COVID. And what we've been able to do with this is, given like our standard new development community size, we're seeing a reduction in housekeeping hours of 14 to 17 hours, depending on the size and the square footage and some of the things that fall into that. And because of that, like what we're finding, so again, the nerd side of me gets kind of excited about it, because we've actually found that the upfront cost pays for itself within about 15 months. But further with the wages from the housekeeping, but further from that and further downstream is we've actually been able to provide our ownership groups like up to $250,000 in added value to the building and to the actual business operation because of that. And so it's not only that it's just a really cool thing that we get to do,
That's
and that
amazing.
it's going to save us some hours, but it's actually a major value add from that. Like as we like dive into that, Nate, I know we don't talk about that a ton, but that's been a very good selling point for some of our development companies to say like, hey, we can reduce these hours and the return is this much. We've done the math, we've done the calculations, we've ran them, and here's where we're at.
Amazing. That's really
and
cool.
Isn't that something? We're finding awesome stuff like this all the time. The technology is fairly new for the U.S. All right, so the reality is, autonomous mobile robots really weren't here before COVID. I mean, you literally cannot. I don't know if anybody here online or whatever can remember, but they were just not here. COVID really sped up the application and the widespread use of these. And what we've found is that this one manufacturer, Poodoo, is phenomenally responsive to our needs. And so when we're asking them for some of these things and some of these features to be put in, we're conveying that to people like Michael and Arrow, and then you're bringing back to us. Well, yes, but did you know? And part of that back end is phenomenal. This is not something that we're aware of or we were selling to. We were really just looking at the benefits of what the bot can do, which has been, like I said, incredibly huge acceptance level. In just about every vertical market we're selling into.
Yeah, which Nate, I do have a question from the comments real quick. You said nobody likes to vacuum, so they want to know, are these available for personal home use as well? Or?
I always tell people if they want them, if they've got a checkbook, I'd be happy to come out and program it for their house.
All right,
you gotta name it at home too. It needs a home.
You gotta put a name on it though. Oh, a real quick story to that side, just because. We were installing one of these into long-term care up in North Dakota, and they have a house cat in their assisted living, so that roams around the entire facility. And that thing followed the robot while we were programming it for about an hour. We got done. We started testing it. We went to the other hall. We came back. The cat is on top of the robot, riding it around as it's cleaning. So yes, it might fit well into your home if you have cats. I don't know.
Elizabeth said she's checking with her hubby now, so she'll let you know.
What I want to hear more about it, Robert, you've had it in your community now for over a year. You've got the elevator integration. You've got the charging station. I know you've said there's a lot of positive things about it. There's some unintended consequences from it. Tell us a little bit about your experience with it.
Well, it's been a great addition. I mean, the biggest thing is like our common areas and hallways are so big that, it takes, by the time the housekeeper takes a vacuum, plugs it back in to do all 3 floors. It's, a good 2.5 hour process. And the robot can do all 3 floors in about 45 minutes and everything. So we're cutting almost 2 hours down on our time that they can, gear towards the residents and help them out more. I've had to retrain staff. One of the downfalls is he doesn't get in the corners very well. He works around the corners, which is not just retraining staff and training the residents, getting used to being able to walk down the hallway and it senses them and just goes around them. They don't have to stop. They don't have to, stay there and wait for him to go, the robot to go around. He senses them and he'll just work his way around and keep going. And so retraining them too, to not touch them and just let him do his job.
That's awesome to hear. Cool. Can I interject here just a little bit, Robert? Because within the robot itself, they're literally servicing videos right on the screen